This is Pro Series Off Topic.
Welcome back to Pro Series Off Topic. This is episode 44, and this is the first episode I'm doing fully in video. I've done it before. I was never really a fan of it. It always just felt awkward. I started Off Topic almost a year ago, April of 2023, and the whole idea of doing the Off Topic was I was doing Pro Series for so long and interviewing other professionals and talking about their careers and all of this, and I am an avid podcast listener. I listen to country music podcasts, health podcasts, all kinds of different podcasts. And I was kind of painting myself into a corner, and Off Topic just seemed to speak for itself, kind of allowed me to talk about other topics. And usually, if you're listening or if this is the first time you're listening, I usually talk about one main topic, if it's marketing, whatever, something that's going on. And then I always end with country music weekly, which is just talking about the new music that come out and the media based chart and any music that came out. But the main reason why I'm doing this video or changing Off Topic to video form is I was getting too comfortable doing the podcast just audibly. In the beginning, I started as a video and I just took a clip of it and made it a reel for social media, which was fine. But sitting there talking to yourself for a podcast is, in the beginning, was very awkward. Now I'm very comfortable, and I'm someone, if I become comfortable in something, I need to change it, because it's kind of like when you start to plateau, and I see that in the analytics of the social media posts or the podcast post. It's just kind of stagnant, and that's what I'm seeing with the off-topic episodes. They're not as growing as much as the Pro Series. The Pro Series has grown incredibly, and it's awesome, but I wanted to make sure that I'm always pushing myself, and I'm someone that always wants to push themselves and kind of break out of that comfort zone and kind of do something cool. So that's the main reason why I'm shooting this in video. As you know, these podcasts are a little bit shorter than a Pro Series. The Pro Series could be 30 minutes to an hour. Just depends on how the interview is going. But for the most part, Off Topic has always been short and sweet, kind of start with the main topic, end with country music, and maybe talk about some topics that kind of retain to that week. And hopefully I'll have some guests to come on. And the whole idea to have a guest of Off Topic, and the reason why I haven't had one on yet, is I want someone that is, maybe they were on the original Pro Series and they want to talk about country music or something totally different, but I just don't want to talk about business as much. I know I talk a lot about marketing and Canva and all kinds of different tools that I use on this main on the Off Topic platform, but I kind of want to branch off and kind of do it in a different way, just because I listen to all these other podcasts, and that's what I find more interesting than business podcasts, because that's what the Pro Series is. So let's get into country music. This week we had a lot go down in country music. If you watched the Super Bowl, you obviously saw the Verizon commercial with Beyonce. She dropped 2 songs off of her next coming album, Act 2, and you're probably thinking, why am I talking about Beyonce? But if you are living in a bubble and did not see, she released 2 country songs this week, and the whole album will be country. That's what I'm talking about. And start with the first one, 16 Carriages. Not a bad song, and let's rewind a little bit. It's getting a lot of backlash, both songs. The one was released to country music radio this week. Some radio stations refusing to play it, and from what I heard or what I've read, a lot of these radio stations aren't playing it because they didn't know she dropped a country song. They thought people were just requesting to play a Beyonce song, so they weren't aware of it at the time. Not saying they probably still don't want to play it, and I'm saying all this not being a Beyonce fan at all. There are some songs that I like, but overall I'm not someone that's going to buy a ticket, but I do think she's extremely talented and has an amazing voice, a great entertainer. But let's get into these songs. 16 Carriages and Texas Hold'em. Texas Hold'em is the one that was released to country radio this week. Both produced, the production of both of them are, a lot of people are going to hate me when I say this, but a lot of them, both of those are produced a lot more country or traditionally country than a lot of songs that have come out in the last 10 years in country music. I know a lot of people are going to hate that, but it's true. It just she's using a lot of more of the acoustic, that what you traditionally think in country music, production wise. First song, 16 Carriages, not my favorite. It's still good. And I think we go through this whole conversation every single time there's a new artist that comes into country music, or a new song that kind of breaks the barrier of the traditional sound of country music, or maybe just not traditionally a country music artist. And we went through this just a couple years back with Walker Hayes coming out with Fancy Like. And this is, people don't remember that this happened to Garth in the early 90s. They saying that he's not country. This happened to Shania. It happened to Willie. It happened to all these country artists back in the day, and people don't remember that because country music changes, and the genre has changed so much over the years. But if we don't embrace the change, it's not going to evolve and get as big as it is right now. And I think that's why it is so big, because there's so many more artists doing so many different things in country music. The productions of all of this music doesn't sound the same. And I think that's kind of why, rock and roll is not as big anymore. It didn't involve the way that country music is doing, and country music being I saw a statistic saying that it is the biggest music genre right now. And it's that way for a reason. And it's okay to not like a certain artist or a certain song or a certain sound of a country music. You don't have to like downgrade that song or downplay it, saying that it's not country just because you don't like it, or that's not traditionally what you like to listen to. Just move on. You're not going to like every artist. But for both the singles, 16 Carriages, I think she just put out just to put out something else. But Texas Hold'em is that single that went out to country music. I think it's a great song. I saw some TikTok of them comparing Texas Hold'em by Beyonce to Franklin from back in the day, the TV show. And the music of it is pretty identical. Not the lyrics, just the music. It's kind of funny. But go check that out. I honestly think it's a great song. Very curious on what she does with it going forward, with like music video wise, and if she goes to the ACMs or CMAs or CMTs and sings it. She has done that before, if you remember. Probably in 2016, she came out with Daddy Lessons off of Lemonade. That was also a good song. To me, the definition of country music is a storytelling song. I don't think it always has to do with a banjo or a fiddle or just how it's produced. It has to do with the lyrics and it telling a story. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of forget about. But let's go into the next song that came out this week. Strong. Tyler Hubbard is announced his album that will be coming out. I think it's in April or May. It's not saying right here, but he's coming out with an album called Strong. Came out with another song off of it called Wish You Would. It's great. I'm a huge Tyler Hubbard fan now. I was a fan of his when he was on FGL, but his songs he's coming out with on his solo career are just great. And then ironically, this next song that came out this week is the name of her tour that's coming out, that she's going on this year. But it's kind of funny that she released it on the same week that Beyonce kind of came out with the song. But it's called Country's Cool Again by Lainey Wilson. To me, I'm a huge Lainey Wilson fan. Her last album, Bell Bottom Country, was probably one of the best albums last year. Besides Morgan Wallen's and Zach Bryan's album, those three are probably top tier for me for 2023. But this song, it needs to grow on me. I'm not a huge fan of it right now. It means well, and I like the meaning of it, but it's just kind of funny it came out with the same week as Beyonce, because it's kind of talking about how country's become cool again, and people are liking it more, and all the people that just hate country years ago are jumping on the bandwagon because of artists like Lainey Wilson or Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs. So the whole landscape of country music has changed, and that's kind of what that song is about. It's pretty good, but it's not, to me, single worthy. I think maybe she came out with it just because it's the name of her upcoming tour. But she does still have a song on the chart, which we'll talk about in a second. But next up, Next up, Megan Maroney came out with a single this week, and it is the acoustic emo country girl live session version of the song. Might remember she released it a couple weeks called No Caller ID. Great song. I think she's getting a lot of love for that. I don't know what that's doing with her song on the charts. Maybe we'll check off when we go to the MediaBase charts next. But next up, Breland, an artist, a very underrated artist in my opinion, that hasn't really really popped off yet. And he came out with a song called Heartbreak and Alcohol. Great song. Go check that one out. Another one. It's considered pop, but it is sampling a country song, and it has a country artist in it. So I'm going to talk about it. It is Flo Rida and Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly is the other half of Florida Georgia Line. They came out with a song called Feels Right, I Love It, and it is sampling I Like It, I Love It from Tim McGraw, and they actually talk about Tim McGraw in the song and Morgan Wallen. Go check that out. It's a really good song. I don't know what it is with all these samplings nowadays, but there's a lot of samplings, but they're doing a pretty good job with it. But let's move over to the MediaBase chart. Go back to the Megan Maroney song. She does have a current single, I'm Not Pretty, on the charts. It's at 25 right now. I think it's falling. It was much higher a couple weeks ago. And then Lainey Wilson, she has Wildflowers and Wild Horses, which is my favorite song off of the Bell Bottom Country album. That is at number 15 this week. So that's why I don't think if Country is Cool Anymore is coming out as a single, but we never know. Morgan Wallen comes out with like 5 singles at a time on the radio, so we'll never know. But MediaBase top 5. Number 5 this week is Hardy with Truck Bed. Number 4 this week, Luke Combs with Where the Wild Things Are. Number 3 this week, Cody Johnson, The Painter. And number 2 this week, Warren Zider, Pretty Little Poison. And number 1 this week, Riley Green, Different Round Here with Luke Combs. So Luke Combs actually has 2 songs in the top 5 of the Country MediaBase chart. I hope you like this episode in video format. I'm hoping to do it every week now. If I could find the time, that's the issue. But I usually record these on the weekend, so it should be fine. But hope you like this. Comment and message me on any topics that you might want to talk about this, or if you want to call in. I have the capability now to do that, so go ahead and do that. I hope you like this week's episode of the Pro Series podcast. It will be coming out on Tuesday or Wednesday at this point. I don't know, which I should know. I'm thinking it's Wednesday. But so stay tuned about that, and we will talk next week.